Hello, this is Ryan and David Zachos here with Zachos Realty. We are both brokers and owners of our firm here out of Sarasota, Florida. And today's video, we want to come to you and talk to you a little bit about new construction. Over the last couple of years, we've done a lot of new construction sales. We've had a chance to help a lot of clients and work with a lot of different builders, pretty much every builder in the area here. Parrish, Lakewood Ranch, Sarasota, Venice, Bradenton, I mean, you name it. And I think in 2023, it's shaping up to look and feel a lot different than it has in the past, especially for the last 1 to 2 years and through the first quarter of 2022. Yeah, quickly wanted to jump on here, give you some insight regarding the pros and cons of why you might want to consider purchasing new construction in 2023, and especially in leveraging us as realtors and our relationships with these builders. Quickly, can you do a little snapshot of what it looked like previously over the last couple of years?
Sure. Everybody knows that 2021, 2022, the beginning was very, very competitive. New construction was no different. All the way up until all through 2021, maybe first quarter for sure of 22, the builders were in charge. They knew it. You know, if you went to go sign a contract with them, they made you bid against other buyers. They kept raising their prices. I'd be shocked, but sometimes monthly, sometimes even weekly, to find out, prices are going up again and people were willing to pay it.
That was frustrating because I work with a client and we're about to go to contract, and then all of a sudden the next day it's like, oh, that price wasn't where it was, $20,000 more. And it was very frustrating that time of year, but that's not like that anymore, luckily. But go ahead.
Yeah. On the positive side, there were actually some builders that we had a relationship with that I had that happen as well.
Yeah.
But fortunately they said, you know what, it was a $20,000 increase and we're going to hold it for you through the weekend, which a lot of builders wouldn't. I even had buyers, we had to go into bidding process, 50,000, and I didn't have buyers, but I had buyers, salesmen tell us up to 250,000 above the asking price for a lot just to get that opportunity to build on it. Those days are behind us. I'm glad in a lot of ways because many buyers were disappointed. They didn't feel like they should have to do that with new construction. And so they sat on the sidelines, and we were very successful because we're very assertive and we're very client focused. So those buyers that did want to compete, we competed very well on their behalf. And now moving to a more normal market, you can use us to help, leverage builders. Inventory is increasing and the demand is dropping. They're making incentives, and those are opportunities for you. Ryan, just kind of tell people where you think they're going to see in new construction regarding inventory pricing for this new year.
Yeah, I think like you said, it's shaping up to be a lot different. It was just less than a year ago, people couldn't sign contracts quick enough, and now it's the opposite. These builders are started mass producing homes because of that demand. Obviously the market shifted, the interest rates have gone up, and so we're seeing a lot of these builders where their inventory is starting to pile up and they're getting nervous, or they just need to turn over this inventory. We're seeing crazy incentives. We're seeing price reduction, offering lender incentives is a big one, closing cost incentives,
buy down rate incentives.
Buy down rate incentives. Yeah, there's builders that are getting really creative that if you sign a deal now, they'll do a rate guaranteed at X, 5% or 5.5% or whatever it may be for an interest rate. But yeah, we're seeing all these incentives for $10,000 up to $50,000, and even negotiating more than they ever have on this purchase price. And we've had personally builders say, hey, we've toured a home or toured a model for a builder, and they've said, make us an offer. And it's been 2 years, 3 years before where a builder has said, hey, just make me an offer and we'll negotiate on that. I haven't heard that in a long time. So times have definitely changed regarding new construction, especially these new construction builders like D.R. Horton, like Lennar, like Pulte, who is DeVosta, and Del Webb, who are building inventory style homes. They're now sitting on this inventory and having to move it. 2023 is definitely shaping up to be an area for opportunity potentially regarding new construction, and using someone like us or a real estate agent, a professional that does a lot of new construction, is going to be very helpful. We have these relationships with the sales reps. We know what incentives to ask for, especially, and every builder is different regarding their incentives as well. So knowing what builders, what incentives, and what areas we can push on will be super helpful to you, a potential new construction home purchaser. Diving into this year, can you give us a little bit of insight regarding the pros and cons in purchasing new construction?
Yeah, let's start with the pros. So since the builders have inventory, a lot of them have what they call now quick move-ins. So they started these homes in anticipation that they'd be able to sell them, and they have not sold them yet. But a lot of the builders went to this model ahead of time so that they could have inventory homes. So now they have what are called quick move-ins. They may be ready anytime from next month, this month, all the way to 2 or 3 or 4 months. So the house is already in progress. The pros on that is they're putting these homes on sales. You know what the price is. They're not going to raise the price on you. It's a set price. And the builders sometimes are even, like we mentioned before, are negotiating off that set price. You have the certainty. You can go out and look at that home. You can look at the location. You can walk the lot. You know exactly where it's going to be, what it backs up to, how close your neighbors are. There's a lot less lower risk of supply chain issues because the builders already started that home. They've already got their trusses ordered. They've already got the windows ordered. They already have this stuff stacked up, ready to go. So likelihood is you're going to have a lot less delay in that, and you can have a pretty certain closing time on that. Another pro on this is that, your insurance cost. A lot of people now are worried post-Ian, insurance rates are going up. But just recently I checked on a new construction home in a community because my buyer was like, well, how much is the insurance going to be on that? And, surprisingly positive is that it went from like $1,000 to $1,200 for the year. That's really some good pros. Another pro is that since we're past the craziness, builders are more on target on their build times. The crews are in place. They're not stretched as thin as they were because the demand has dropped. For the cons, if you're going to pick one of these quick move-ins, obviously you can't go in and pick your finishes. You can't pick the lot. There's no flexibility that way. But if you build from scratch, some of the builders still let you do that, or semi-custom. You do have to worry possible construction delays. If you're just starting a brand new home, it's just a lot, and you've got anywhere between some of the builders 7 to 14 month build time. There could be some construction delays. Some builders are still struggling to complete homes on schedule. Ian has caused a delay, and it took a lot of resources for rebuilds, remodels, and you may see a shortage. For example, I heard from one builder, you may see a shortage of drywall, and so that could cause a delay. One thing you need to know, a con could be because of all this high demand, some of the best builders, what we felt had a good reputation, had customers tell us just a horrible experience. So make sure, discuss with us, or if you're going to look at a particular neighborhood with a particular builder, make sure you know how they're completing things, because some of them are still trying to catch up, or they may have work shortages, they may have other issues. And you also need to know, if you're buying a home, look at the contract, get it ahead of time. We can request this for you, send out draft. I often do this because builders change their contracts. They're not a standard contract. Every builder is a little bit different, and make sure there's no escalation rider in there that if they need to, they can just jack the price up later on down the road to tell you we had an increase in this or increase in that. So those are all cons buying new construction that could happen. So you got to watch out for those things.
And one thing I saw too, just to add on to that note, was even like financial contingencies. There was builders in the heat of it all that were actually saying like, no, we're not giving you a financial contingency. You have to come up with an appraisal gap, or you have to come up with that appraisal deficiency if there is one. And they were not negotiating on that. So they were requiring more money down. And that luckily has turned too. They know that they can't be nearly as strict or, as they were just a year ago. So they are willing, but there are some builders that will try to still slide that in there, I think. So be careful and make sure, like you said, you're talking to us regarding those purchases.
And we can give you local lenders. Of course, the builders all have their lenders that they try to have you use, but we do have some great local lenders that can give you good insight on that as well. So Ryan, tell them about other options, because people may not be familiar with the fact that there's new construction they can actually have built, but they're not in a new construction community.
Yeah, and everyone's pretty much aware now of all the different tract builders that are building in these communities. So typically a DR Horton or a Lennar will buy a big tract of land and they'll build out that community, the amenities and everything that included with that. Some are gated, some are not, all of them which have an HOA of some sort. So another option would be that there are actual builders, whether that's Snyder or Aaron, or even DR Horton has a branch of these spec home builders. And what they're doing is that's, someone referred to as an urban infill. Obviously, it's not too urban when you're talking about Venice or Port Charlotte or Northport or some of these other areas, but they are building in existing communities, and they're not in actual, like what you would think of as a new construction neighborhood. They're taking what would be an older community in Venice, and they have a lot that they're purchasing, building a spec home on, and you can go to contract with that. Some of these options or opportunities are pre-construction, and some are mid-construction or even post-construction if they have that inventory already. But it is unique to have that opportunity. A lot of people aren't even aware of that option, and they're usually pretty affordable. More customers have enjoyed this option or opportunity because of there's no HOA fees. A lot of times there's no deed restrictions or HOA restrictions. There's no HOA dues. Now you might not have the amenity center and things like that, but that obviously appeals to a certain demographic of buyers as well. Final option would be a true custom home build. You can talk about that for a sec.
Custom builders, of course, you start from scratch. You just do your plans and you build the whole thing. And what we're seeing a lot of, and I'll do a video on this coming up after this, is new construction and existing neighborhoods. So many of our coastal neighborhoods are so popular. The homes are old, but a lot of people are tearing down and building. We'll give you some good insight on options that way because property has become scarce close to the beaches, close to the waterways, and a lot of these new construction builders are building out east, of course, where the property was cheaper. I think it's a good option, an opportunity for people to build a brand new home, an existing neighborhood that has everything you need. It just would be a custom build instead of a spec build.
And I think, just real quick, I think on that custom build, I mean, if you look up, custom builder in Sarasota or custom builder in Venice, you're probably going to have 100 different options. It's going to be really important to talk to someone like us who actually works with these custom builders and we know which ones to go to, because there are going to be small custom builders that are going to have major supply chain issues because they don't have purchasing power. There's going to be other custom builders that are going to be probably a better option, and also based on price point and finishes. I mean, there's so many different variables into the custom build. So you're going to want to work with someone that is doing this on a regular basis and helping clients out and be able to lead you to the right custom home builder.
Right, because every time we have a busy economy, new builders came down here like in droves and start a company up and start building, and then now there's a slowdown. So you got to make sure you pick that right builder that has a great reputation, and we can help you with that. I appreciate you watching. Thanks a lot. If you have any questions about anything we discussed, any of the homes we discussed, neighborhoods, please reach out, send us a message, share it with your friends. Any comments, we look forward to hearing them, and we look forward to speaking with you again soon.
Thanks.